Hi, I've been really busy lately, so I caught up this morning on viewing videos. Um, and, I don't know, there's not very many people are posting right now. But of the few that I was able to watch, that I had the time to watch, some of them were pretty interesting and engaged my mind. So I'm just going to talk about those. Um, One of them was something that Fred Conference Report posted. His website, in case you've been in a coma, is called You Doubled. And he's trying to work out a way to get away from all the BS on YouTube. And, there is quite a bit of it here. So that's a good thing. Um, and he's going to set up satellite communities. He has a video outlining his satellite communities. It'll be in the low bar if I don't post this to his video. And I think that's a good idea. That means, well, it can be a good idea. It means that you get together with people on a certain subject, and I think that's great. But he pointed out that he hoped people would venture beyond their comfort levels when they're forming their communities, and not just include people who think exactly the way you do about a particular issue, because it's the hardest thing in the world, in my opinion, is to expand what you think and not jump to conclusions prematurely. I've jumped to conclusions. I mean, everybody has prematurely. And what happens sometimes is if you jump to a conclusion and the people around you have a similar ideology to you, nobody is going to challenge you, or very few people are going to challenge you in a group, because you form communities around people who think the way you do. It's just not true that people that opposites attract. The same attracts. There's even a name for it, and there'll be a link in the low bar to a good, or I consider it a fairly good blog entry from Jonah Lehrer, who writes for Wired magazine, and he points out that there is something called similarity attraction effect, and it means that you want around you people who think the way you do. It makes you comfortable. It makes you feel like the world is really simple and easy to understand because everybody around you feels the way you do. It's what we all tend to do unless we challenge ourselves. It's just the way we're programmed, and we've been probably programmed that way because, our survival at some point may have depended on having like-minded people around us, so that we wouldn't be attacked or something. And it just makes you feel comfortable to have people nodding their heads when you speak. But it doesn't really challenge you to think sometimes. And, and it's also, you can read the whole article. It's going to be posted in the low bar. It was from January 16th, and as I said, it was in Wired magazine. It's pretty interesting. He's a pretty interesting thinker. And I'm going to be posting another video about his idea for a fourth culture. I think that's really intriguing stuff. But what I want to talk about really is just trying to branch out and challenge ourselves and try to listen to other people. It's really a good way to go on YouTube because there are a lot of people that I like, I admire, and I don't agree with sometimes on some of their issues or some of the points they make in their videos. What I try to do is try to suspend feeling a certain way until I've listened to the video. And that's not always easy. I think part of changing our minds is sort of changing our environment, basically. If you have always been in the same group, try listening to people who are not in that group, people who often have disagreed with that group, and see if there's anything out there they say that you might think isn't total nonsense. I mean, you personally, not the group you hang with, but you personally. And that is the hardest thing. I mean, it's hard for me, it's hard for everybody, because you want to believe in self-consistency. You want to believe that what you know is true, and that you don't have to question yourself. It takes a lot of energy to question yourself. But everything you think, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, everything you think can't possibly be true. You have to be mistaken about some things. So I really applaud Fred's idea of, if you're going to make these groups, try getting a little bit out of your comfort zone, and try, having discussions with people you know will not agree with you. And I know that you can say or do anything here on YouTube, and some of us do. But if you want to talk about ideas, then talk about ideas. It seems to me. I mean, you don't have to. Nobody's going to make you. You can make your point using insults. You can make your point any way you want to here. But if you want to talk about ideas, outline your ideas. And the hardest thing, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people, is not to put your ego behind it, and realize that you can be mistaken. I mean, the video I made recently about blind spots is exactly about that. The reason they are blind spots is because you are certain you are right, and you may or may not be right. And that's the real truth. And the hardest thing in life is to say, I'm not right about everything. And I don't need to put my ego into being right all the time. So this is a bit of a ramble, but I want to talk about how you create a new culture. And it's not as simple as you think. And we should be thinking about how to create a new culture, in my opinion, because the old ones are pretty much bankrupt. And Jonah Lehrer has this idea about a fourth culture. I would expand, I think, how he envisions the fourth culture. But I think it's a great idea to think about what culture is and how you expand the way you think about culture. And even if you think culture is just too highfalutin a word, you're in a culture. Even if it's just that you stand on the street corner with a bunch of other guys who think the way you think all day, that's a culture. We all are in a culture. So we might as well think about the fact that culture is the water we swim in, and we should start thinking what that water is like, and maybe testing the water quality a little bit. Oh, what a ramble. I don't know if I'll post this. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.